Happy Friday. Happy Friday to one and to all. Let me put my window up really quickly. Perhaps it is Saturday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day. I am very sorry and I apologize up front for sounding very somber and morose, but it is for good reason. I've already put up, and I will do it again for the audience and for those who may catch the replay, a viewer discretion disclaimer. This is something that I said I was going to talk about. However, I did not get a chance, even though I had been following the story. And a Maryland family, a Maryland community's worst nightmares, unfortunately, have come true. And the following broadcast will focus on the case of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. Again, thank you for those that are tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if I don't get the opportunity to speak to you all individually, I'll make sure that I will acknowledge you after this live. I don't think I can do it right now. So, Dacara Thompson, again, 19 years old, had gone missing back in August, late August. She was last seen, okay, I want to make clear on that. She was last seen, according to reports. And again, this is ongoing. There's a lot of information that has been put out and a lot of questions, a lot of questions. So, for those of you that are listening or may catch the replay, please make sure that you watch it until the very end because, again, um, in the middle of the broadcast, some of you may be enraged. However, the information must come out. So, 19-year-old, again, 19 years old, this beautiful young lady you see pictured was last seen in Lanham. However, according to reports, she was reported as missing on August the 23rd. Subsequently, her vehicle was found in Hyattsville. Now, the reason why it's so upsetting, number one, anytime a young life is lost, it's devastating. But the main fact is every area that they're speaking of, I have been to. I know them very well because I'm in the Maryland area. And depending upon how I feel, I'm trying to get through this workday. So this is going to be a quick live. I'll go to each of these areas again. I'm not going to go directly to the homes, of course, but at least close enough so you're able to see for yourselves. But according to reports, her car was found in Hyattsville, Maryland. Hyattsville, oh, Hyattsville. Anyway, with her house keys, her purse, approximately, and again, this is according to reports. Again, a lot of questions. Those of you that know me know what I do. I already have red flags with steam coming out of my ears. But anyway, let me get through this. $60 in cash and a cell phone, her cell phone, allegedly, that was disabled. The community searched for her. I mean, there were tireless efforts. Again, if you Google her name, Dacara, Dacara Thompson, it's all over the news because the actual arrest was effectuated today, Friday, September the 5th. The time of this broadcast is 12:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, this is Friday, September the 5th, and we have had so much loss of young people. It's really it's overwhelming at this point. So on Sunday, August the 31st, a body was found off of Route 50 and 97. Now, Route 50, for those of you that are in the Maryland area, perhaps the District of Columbia, perhaps some parts of Northern Virginia are familiar with Route 50 and 97. That's not too far from Bowie. It's not too far from Annapolis. At first, there was a disabled vehicle, but according to reports, the vehicle that they found was not hers. Hey there, April. How are you, everyone that are listening? Please, again, the story is heartbreaking. And when I get to a certain point, again, it's going to upset many. So, a body was found. Family, friends that were searching for her, prayers and vigils went up because it wasn't confirmed it was this young woman because they didn't know at the time. So this is where it gets really upsetting. And again, excuse me for sounding somber. I'm not talking about the scratchiness in my voice. I'm just talking about my not just not really wanting to do this, but it needs to get out because parents, I don't care. I don't care at this point. Never really did. Your social economic status or how good you feel your child is, and please do not take that statement as my saying that this young woman wasn't a good girl. There's nothing to suggest that she wasn't, but we are living in the days and times that we can only go by what we know that our children, our young adults tell us. We don't know everything that goes on. And with this particular case, we absolutely, something just isn't right with this. And it doesn't sit right. So a body was found Sunday around 5 o'clock p.m. in a wooded area. According to a press conference that was held earlier, and this is the interim police chief. Again, salute to the tireless efforts of everyone involved in Prince George's County and other agencies. However, again, there's to me a lot of questions that many have, especially me. So even the chronological timeline of events during this particular press conference is confusing. You have to go backwards and forth and actually list out because the dates, they'll mention one date, but then they'll go back to another. And to me, when you're holding a press conference, everything should be in chronological order. So you're going to have questions, but not so many questions. And that, to me, again, this is just me, that's a red flag. Am I implying that it's intentional for confusion? No, I'm not implying that, but I do have questions as to, I just have questions, so I'm going to leave it there. According to surveillance footage that was reviewed, Dacara Thompson, again, 19 years old, is said to have approached a black SUV at 3:30 in the morning. Now, early reports, and this is where this is concerning, and a lot of people have questions. At first, it was said, and again, when you're reporting on particular news stories, early information may not be correct. So I understand that as humans, that happens. I'll just associate it with the game people used to play coming up. You whisper something in someone's ear, and by the time it gets back, everything is discombobulated. It doesn't come back as fact. So early on in all investigations, some information that comes out may not be true. It may not even be related. So I understand that. But it was first said that when she left around 1:30 in the morning to go get gas. Again, to me, at 19 years old, that's strange. Not to say young people, 19 years old, I mean, technically an adult, but still a teenager. They may run out to get a snack or something. I know I did, but I wasn't living at home anymore. So, according to this footage that was reviewed, she was seen again approximately 3:30 in the morning speaking to someone in a black SUV briefly, and according to again reports and review of this footage, they are saying that she willingly got into the vehicle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, let me responsibly put this up. Remember, Dacara Thompson is 19 years old, the driver of the vehicle, and the suspect that has been charged with first and second degree unaliving of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson of Maryland is 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez. Again, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez. However, in the press conference, his full name was given by Interim Police Chief Nader. Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. Okay? Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, 35 of Bowie. Some people might question, well, what difference does it make? Well, in certain communities, and I know this because, again, of the type of work that I do, it's hard to find certain people and certain databases because of the way their names are set up. Okay? So that is important. Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez of Bowie, Maryland. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, not only that, it has been reported that Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez is here illegally. I'll repeat that. It is reported, and I cannot attest to the validity of that, but it is reported that he is here illegally and that a ICE detainer was placed on Thursday. We already have an issue, and I'm just going to be transparent. We already have an issue with individuals being here illegally. Okay, and I'm not even going to speak on my position with that because it's not about that right now. It's about the fact that this young woman is no longer here, and this is the suspect. Okay, this is a suspect right now. 35-year-old Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. Now, let me show you her again. It is being said by the footage that was reviewed that it appears that she willingly got in the vehicle after a short conversation with the suspect. But to me, I don't, it just doesn't make sense. So let's go to this first slide. Dacara Thompson, and again, you can Google this, I implore you to do so, left her father's home in Lanham the night of August the 22nd. Okay, remember I mentioned that they're saying that it was said to put fuel in her vehicle. The car was found, and on this it says it was found 2 days later with her purse inside. Her phone was gone and disabled. But another report says that her purse, $60 cash approximately, and her phone was disabled. So again, there's some inconsistencies there. Next. You see the headline, which I am not going to read. The surveillance video shows, and again, I don't have access to it. I would love to be able to, but I honestly, I don't want to see it. Shows Thompson approach a black SUV early, again, according to reports, around 3:30 a.m. on August 23rd. Speak to the driver and get inside about 3 a.m. Again, different reports, they have different times stamped, but I'll just say on or about 3 o'clock a.m. in the morning. For reasons still under investigation, it appears that Dacara willfully entered a vehicle being driven by the suspect. Again, this is according to interim police chief of Prince George's County, Nader. Again, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, everybody ready for this? Hugo Rene, which they don't have here, but Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez of Bowie is charged with first and second degree unaliving. Prince George's County Police Chief Nader at a new conference. Now, this is the part, all of this is just, it's really, really overwhelming. But again, I can't attest to the accuracy of this because we do know that certain things are said. But according to reports, it is being said that the suspect, who has been identified as 35 years old, and his name, Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, was living in the United States illegally. And this is another piece of this, I'm going to call it a puzzle right now. He was arrested by the United States Park Police months earlier, April to be exact, ladies and gentlemen, according to my research. See, I do some things offline. In April, months earlier, and the federal government released him pending trial. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he was arrested and released on the charges of DUI and was awaiting trial. So somewhere, somehow, somebody dropped the ball if this information is accurate. Here we go again. You can go to News 7, and I'll just reiterate, they're saying that the suspect, Hernandez Mendez, is in the United States illegally, and ICE issued a detainer on Thursday, which was yesterday. Authorities with the United States Park Police had previously arrested him back in April on a DUI charge, but he was released pending his trial and appearance in U.S. District Court. Now, how in the hell, and see, again, is he in the country illegally? Because it seems like to me, with everything else that's been done, i.e., a DC takeover, that information would have been known. But now all of a sudden, And again, I'm not defending anyone. I'm just asking questions and throwing things out there blindly because something in this whole case, this whole tragic case, does not make sense to me. And I am not sure if this is the mugshot or not, but again, you can Google it. But it appears that he might be wearing some type of construction uniform. That there's like a neon garb that's going on. So, as this horrible story goes, a search warrant was executed on Thursday, September the 4th, for a home off of Cambridge Drive in Bowie, Maryland. And there was evidence. There was evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that this beautiful, beautiful young woman was unalived in a bedroom. Okay? She was unalived in a bedroom at that home. And enough evidence, according to reports, to charge 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez with this heinous, this senseless, this evil act. Now, the COD or cause of her passing is still under investigation pending the results of the ME or the medical examiner in Baltimore. Again, her body was found August the 31st. Today is September the 5th. This case in Maryland, to me, has been labeled a high-profile case, so I'm not really sure. Again, I have my own feelings as to why I feel the way I do with certain things. Again, if you know, you know why it's taking so long for the medical examiner to come up with the results, or maybe it's because of the pending investigation. At this time, according to Prince George's County Police Chief Nader, it is believed, again at this time, that Hugo Hernandez Mendez acted alone. Again, that is the belief at this time. Keep in mind, this is an ongoing investigation. So in summary, 19-year-old Dacara Thompson of Lanham, Maryland, who went missing in August the 22nd, reported missing August the 23rd. Family, friends, community, the police department, and other entities endured tireless efforts to locate this young woman. Even after the news broke of a body being found in Bowie, Maryland, there was still hope that this young woman was still with us. It was discovered after a search warrant was executed on Thursday, September the 4th, 2025, that Dacara Thompson had been unalived in a bedroom where police tracked the vehicle, the black SUV, to a home in Bowie, Maryland. And according to reports, that body was in fact the body of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. Again, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez has been arrested without bond, I might add, without bond, and charged with first and second degree unaliving of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. Again, she went missing. According to surveillance footage, again, I am not sure if they're going to release that at all or if they're waiting for more information. But again, according to reports, She willfully entered the vehicle, and according to reports, they believe she was unalived in a bedroom, and the suspect was 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, 35 years old, who police say is here in the United States illegally. You can see the headline right there. I'm not going to read it. I ad-libbed, but it's there. And again, this last paragraph is the one that really gets me. Authorities with the United States Park Police had, okay, past tense, had previously arrested him back in April on a DUI charge, but was released pending his trial and appearance in U.S. District Court. Again, I have a lot of questions, but the family at least now knows, according to the reports that has been given, that their little girl is now home, her heavenly home. My prayers and deepest heartfelt condolences to the mother, the father, her friends, family, the community who are mourning and grieving this terrible, shocking, really, loss of yet another young person. Again, I'm going to repeat, family, parents, even, and it's ironic. We just had a show last week, I believe, about parenting adult children, and I'm gonna have to send this to Lucinda real quick, but we don't know what type of evil is really out there. And again, young people go out for snacks often wee hours of the morning. Like I said, I've done it, and I've seen people do it, and they really do. They just go out to get something. They might get the munchies earlier, not because they're doing something else, but some people just are up. They're nocturnal. They're just up late or wee hours of the morning. But this is, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, a family, a community's worst nightmare. So that concludes this broadcast. All I can say again is to everyone, please, please, please be safe, be well, be healthier, and talk to your children, even your adult children, of the dangers. Now, they're saying this man was a stranger, but was he really? We don't know that. The investigation is still going. Okay? And I'm not going to speculate. I can't. I mean, I could, but I'm not, because I have to be and remain responsible. But there are a lot of questions. And maybe the investigation is covering them. I cannot speak to say that they're not, but just something to me doesn't make sense. Because if you are following the Kilmar Armando Albrego Garcia case, they're doing everything to get this man out of the country. But what happened with this one? Did somebody drop the ball? This is in Maryland too. And quite honestly, in close proximity. So again, Marylanders, if you know, you know. And that's all I have to say about this particular case right now. Thank you to everyone that is tuned in. Calais, thank you. Ideal, thank you. Who else? Mine, my beautiful Mine, thank you. I think April was in here earlier. Thank you. And anyone else that I may have missed, my apologies. But again, I had to make this quick. But this story, again, I knew about it, but I didn't know until earlier, and this is really breaking actually. The the arrest and these details, I think, are no more than an hour or two old. I may be mistaken, but I believe no more than an hour or two old. So this is another unfortunate case of a young person, a young person full of life and light, cut short. Everyone, again, thank you for tuning in. And to those who may catch the replay, be safe. As I have said before, we are living in a world and we really don't know who and what is around us. I put up a short the other day when I was driving through a particular part of DC, which doesn't get a lot of coverage. And there was an older gentleman, and I chuckled a little bit, but at the same time, I pay attention. For those of you who saw that short, he said the guy that was next to him who had this cold look in his eye, you all didn't see it. I mean, you could probably blow it up and see, but I could see it because I was sitting in the vehicle next to him. He basically said, this guy can get out, as if I were going to get into the vehicle. People assume certain things when you really don't know. And just like he said, well, I have a good heart. Just say I was gullible and felt sorry for him because he said he was 68 and going through things, and decided to hop in and just to listen to what he had to say. You all would have probably never seen or heard from me again. And that's no slight on that man because I don't know him. But what I'm saying is sometimes when you under the influence of certain things, you just don't, you be careful with whom you put your trust in, especially when it comes to strangers. Does that mean you should not help strangers? I'm not saying that, but use your discernment. And in many cases, in most cases, common sense. Okay? With that, you all, until next video. Bye bye for now.